Hey everyone. So I haven't been really posting much or really putting up much. Um, so I was thinking about some things and my political views, my stances and whatnot, and I've I've come to discover uh, something about my views um, as I further looked into some of the I guess, mainstream political alignments. Yeah, I mean, I really thought maybe I'd want to go the anarchy route, be an anarchist. And not like the running around and building pipe bombs and no. That's for angry 14, 15-year olds who have nothing better to do. Um, I find myself, you know, very fed up with our current government and their just the way things are. Um, I definitely see that no matter what, even if America was to plunge into full anarchy, let's just say for a moment, in theory, that our government collapsed for whatever reason. And, we give the president the boot, Congress the boot, Senate the boot, all our mayors, governors, city councilmen, judges, we give them all the boot. And we say, screw you. And yeah, there would probably be complete chaos for a little bit because no government, no law. You take the law into your own hands. Um, the video that I watched, the person, I'm gonna see if I can find the link to the video and I'll post it in the description. The guy makes some good points, but the thing that I feel he forgets is that human beings are one instinctively at a base level social creatures. They're also a majority of humans are pack creatures. We are very pack oriented. There, no matter what, if you look at every social group you're a part of, there is a hierarchy. Whether it's a subtle hierarchy or there's a hierarchy. Look at street gangs. There's a hierarchy. There is a leadership structure. All the way from the lowest peon all the way up to the OG. Look at the mafia from the lowest goomba to all the way up to the dons. It doesn't matter. There, even with all these groups that are trying to and he was talking about trading in one government for a different flavor of government. Excuse me, I'm a little bit tired. Naturally, as human beings, we crave structure. There has to be a pattern, a way of doing things, a set of rules, and somebody has to enforce them. Um, so there's always going to be this government. I mean, even if you look at just your social friends group, if you look at the majority of social groups of people who go out and do things together and kind of like have their cliques, their little groups, there is a hierarchy from the most popular in the group to the person that just kind of tags along and is just there because, hey, they're hanging out with the popular kids. Um, you know, and I'm not saying that I'm promoting elitist behavior. Um, I'm just saying that no matter what, there's gonna be a cry for structure, a cry for um, order. Um, so, though this, I feel like the gentleman who did this had a kind of utopian anarchist idea. And like I said, a lot of what he says in that video, it's like an hour-long video, and I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna post a link to it. It's like less than an hour. It's an hour or so. He made some really great points. I mean, which I was like, okay, yeah, I can agree with you on that. What I see that needs to happen is we've gotten to a point where we are afraid of our government. We are afraid of what they're going to do to us. We are afraid that if we speak out too loudly and we, make too much of a fuss, that we're going to disappear, black bag over our head, whatever. Sorry, I couldn't think of that for just. Like I said, I'm very tired and I'm doing this video, but this is what's on my mind right now. I would say that the majority of people don't speak up against their government because they're afraid of what the government's going to do to them. You talk on the phone, oh, don't say that, they could be listening in, blah, 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 blah. Big Brother's watching you. I just recently, actually, right before I did this video, I read a quote by Thomas Jefferson. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. The funny thing is, right now, we both are afraid of each other. I mean, there's 300 million of us? The guys in power are sitting there thinking like, if they really just decided to turn around on us and said, screw you, and we're throwing you out, and we're going to go over here and do this in another direction, there wouldn't be a damn thing they could do about it. I mean, I really think that, the banking, all this debt and everything, there are so many ways to that we could have gotten ourselves out of debt. One was with the legalization of marijuana, giving us a lot of revenue, and it's being proven, and it's starting to happen. I just don't know. And I mean, there's a quote from Adolf Hitler. The best way to take control over a people and control them utterly is to take a little of their freedom, a little bit of their freedom at a time, and erode rights by 1,000 tiny and almost imperceptible reductions. In this way, the people will not see those rights and freedoms being removed until past the point at which these changes cannot be reversed. our government and the things that they've been doing. I mean, the one that I did like in this video that I saw is he was talking about republics. Republics don't work. I mean, there were so many of them that failed. So what makes it think that we're gonna? We need to dial it back. We need to dial it back to the original Constitution and the original Bill of Rights, and we need to add the amendments that there's about equality. We need to keep in the amendment to abolish that slavery is abolished. But what we need to do is we need to deconstruct our entire government and break down everything, and we need to look at all of these laws and all of the stupid laws that are still on the books. I mean, for fuck's sake, there is a law about walking down the street with an ice cream cone in your back pocket and that it is illegal. There is a law still on the books that did not get removed because it is illegal in the state of New Jersey to frown at a police officer. Just look, the senators and congressmen need to be fired. The assemblymen, the aldermen, the mayors, the governors, the all need to be fired. The entire criminal justice system needs to be broken down, and I'm sorry for the guys that are currently, we need to go into kind of an emergency status, like kind of holding pattern, and I'm sorry for the guys that are currently, awaiting sentence, or that are in sentencing or awaiting their trials or whatever. We may have to hold you up a little bit. We'll have to keep an eye on, who's getting ready to get released and those who served their crime. And who knows, maybe we'll look over some of these things that they did, like like with legalizing marijuana, and realizing that, hey, we can take this off your record. I mean, it's legal, and you're still sitting for this, so we're going to release you, and we're going to say, my bad, because I don't know what else to do or what else we could be prepared to do. But one thing that we could do in the jails, we do offer some educational opportunities, but we could offer some other opportunities. One thing I think we need to bring back, and I'm going to close on this, is it used to be, depending on what you did, depending on the crime you committed, you could go to jail or you could join the military. I think we need to bring that back. And where a judge can sit there and say, you know what? I think the military would do you good. Would give you some discipline and structure. And you could opt to, okay, you have a 6-year sentence. Your 6 years is served in the military. Upon completion of those 6 years, the charge that you originally got is dismissed. That means never happened. It's not on your criminal record ever again. Now there will be a caveat that if during this time of service that you don't either complete in the service. Now if you get hurt or you get injured, you get a medical discharge, and at the at the end, and you would just, we'd either find something for you to do on base where if you could function in that capacity, or if you had to be sent home because you were just not you got your leg blown off or whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna say, you know what, you got your leg blown off, serving your sentence. Okay, yeah, no, charge dismissed. Or if you're having to sit there on the mend, then or you just kind of limited. Depending on the situation, it would be on a case-by-case basis. But either, yeah, you go home and you'd be a citizen, you'd be a free citizen, but, your charge would still be there until the end of your sentence. And then at the end of so if you had 3 years left, your charge would be on your record for 3 years. And now those 3 years, you're going to have to stay out of trouble. And one of the things that we should offer them is, job training, assistance, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I mean, this is a whole lot to go over, and there's just so much more. I could ramble on and on for hours about this idea that I have. And for all I know, it could be completely infeasible. It could be completely impractical. But I still think that, basically, a comedian, Ralphie May, said this. The people we're fighting over in Iraq, if we deconstruct the government, we might as well pull the troops home and, screw fighting over there. Let them try to come to our front door again. We'll just strengthen our borders and say, screw y'all until we work this out here. But if we're going to continue fighting over there, we're basically fighting gangbangers. We're 1% of 1%. They're basically a gang. That's what these terrorist groups are. They're basically a gang. Who's better at killing gangbangers than gangbangers? So I mean, honestly, I don't think we need to be fighting over there. But if we're going to continue to do that, might as well, start with the idea of a compromise. I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, this is the way, this is the only way, and my idea. I'm willing to negotiate and meet somebody in the middle. I'm willing to sit down and, talk with our leaders and talk with our congressmen. And our senators. I'm willing to look them in the eye and tell them, you have done a shit job. The only one whose hand I want to shake right now is Bernie Sanders. And I hope to God he gets elected president. Because I think that man can make some changes. And this is not elect Bernie Sanders, blah, blah, blah. I mean, vote for who you want to vote for. Me personally, if I wasn't a convicted felon, I'd vote for Bernie Sanders. Just my opinion, just saying. Other than that, I mean, I just think we need to restructure our government. We need to restructure how we do things. We need to restructure those laws. And these separate states having separate little laws and their own little way of doing things. And, oh, well, we have tighter gun laws over here. Oh, well, we don't allow that over there. And blah, 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 blah. And our state says this type of education in our state. No. What we need to do is we all need to get on one page and one educational standard. Because there are some states that are behind. And there are some states that are ahead. And we're kind of behind a lot of the rest of the world in education. I think in Germany by 3rd grade they're doing algebra or something like that, or calculus, 3rd or 4th grade, or at least the equivalent. I know in Japan it's something like that. I mean, I got a 9-year-old talking to me about trigonometry. I mean, I don't know what I would use that for, but whatever. Anyway, damn, I keep trying to make these videos shorter and shorter. Well, at least this one stayed under 20 minutes. But I just have so much to say. If you'd like to talk to me personally, dravenkane13@gmail.com. And I mean, I challenge our leaders to sit down and talk with me. If you're not scared to have a citizen tell you where you're fucking up and point out your mistakes. And maybe get a collective of us together to suggest some ideas. So, on that note, cut.